Today I'd like to use some of my students as an example of why we may fail while learning a language. By failure, I mean when you completely stop, you give up, you say amen. That's it. I'm not touching that language anymore. Because as soon as you're trying, you're absolutely never failing. That's what I think, at least. I've been a language teacher now for a while. 3 years with a school.
What does it mean its work can come across as rather challenging?
I've also done some tutoring beforehand. What I see and what I notice frequently is that there are some traits that make us teachers say, this could be a problem, this could be an issue. Point number one, there are those students who really don't like the language. And you might say, how is this possible? It is. It's very practical actually, because maybe you're learning English because you need it for a job. You must use English during your tasks, during meetings. Wanted a cool background, I'm regretting it right now. Yeah, of course, Nintendo, yes. Your language learning cannot be focused on, okay, I'll have 10 hours of lesson, I'll know the language. It doesn't work like that. If your goal is fluency, or at least to reach the fluency needed for your task, for your job. Professionally speaking, usually a B1 and B2 are the most required levels. C1 in more specific situations, but usually with a B2, you should be fine. So I kid you not, I had a student who started every single lesson to question why English was so hard and why English had these structures. Why do you say women if it's written woman? Why the plural has to be irregular? Why do you need to add an S? I knew from the very first lesson, maybe from the second one, that after those 10 hours that were booked, I would have never seen that guy again. Little disclaimer, his was not curiosity as in, I'm curious why this happens and this irregular form exists. He was genuinely hating and questioning every single aspect of the language. I believe there's a huge difference between those who are just curious and those who instead really want to question every single aspect of the language. He was a one case only, because it's very rare to find people who are so negative towards languages. His approach was so negative. I wasn't just a teacher in that situation. I became the lawyer of that language. I was protecting and trying to defend the language, which doesn't make sense. It's very sad to say, but I do understand why he stopped, and I cannot blame him, but his approach was so detrimental for himself. He just asked for not succeeding. He was a linguistic red flag, we could say. My first bullet point for this could be try to understand why you're studying the language and deal with your why before you engage in the language. If you must learn a language, you must also be aware that there will be difficulties, there will be struggles, and you have to be okay with that. So why I'm studying a language? Because I need it for work. I'll try to follow my tutor, or I'll try to work alone, and I'll try to engage in things that are suitable for me, and I won't question the language. I will just try my best. Just don't give up before you're even starting. That makes absolutely no sense. The second type of student is the student who never does his or her homework. I'm swamped in that situation. Homework is not a punishment, and homework for a teacher is the equivalent of getting input when you're studying on your own, when you're a self-learner. For example, I'm currently studying French and German. I don't have homework. I'm giving myself homework. It will obviously be a touch and go if you keep avoiding practicing. For example, read an article during the lesson and then try to work around it. We answer some questions, and then I assign some vocabulary related questions, exercises. So during the week, you'll see that vocabulary again. Then during the lesson, we'll check the vocabulary. You're seeing it for the third time. the chances are that every time you're seeing that vocabulary again and those structures again, it will be easier and easier and easier. Your brain will have it easier if you do the homework because you'll be ready for what's next. And to be fair, I really don't like, something I detest is wasting people's money and time. So when you are having a lesson, I don't want to do the same identical stuff during the second lesson. I want to do something new, something extra. So each time we're building a new block. If you are doing that lesson and then you don't touch the language for an entire week, I've actually done this mistake plenty of times. I have skipped German for the past few days because I had some celebrations and the job has been hectic. It's been messy. And now I have to revise what I've done a bit more because I don't remember many expressions. And I have them in my notebook. I don't even remember what these expressions are. Yes, this notebook is German and French. I have two different sides. Category of student number 3. This is one of those mistakes which we all probably make sooner or later. It's the ostrich effect kind of mistake. Ostrich effect is something that actually exists, and I have talked about it in my previous video. I'll leave you here the thumbnail so you can check it out. Basically, when we are scared, when we are afraid, think about a situation in which you are afraid. You cover your eyes, you close your eyes, you just ignore the problem. Today we're going to watch a video. Oh no, I'm so afraid. I don't want to watch a video. I cannot understand videos. I don't understand a word. I've had cases of students attending the lesson and deciding not to participate because there was a video or a speaking lesson and they were too afraid of performing so badly they didn't even try. If you're doing this, please try to find materials that are easy. There are lessons, there are so many tools now that allow you to start from scratch, from A0 level, from an A0 level, and you can improve little by little. And I mean, what's the worst that could happen? If you watch a video and you realize the language is still too difficult for you, that's not an issue. If you don't understand the video, that's not an issue. We can watch something easier. Just don't avoid something because you find it difficult. Try instead to do it more. Try to fight this. Number 4, this is a bit of a pain for me because I was this type of student, thinking that your instinct towards a language will always beat knowledge. Let me explain. When you're studying a language, sometimes you have these moments because you say, oh, if this is like this, then this is the reason why. You have a perception, you have your idea, it's a theory. You have your theory. I was always convinced I understood the future when I was going to middle school. Fun fact, I clearly understood it at university because I always struggled to understand the future. No teacher ever successfully taught me the future in English. So I always struggled with it. And I was so convinced I understood it that I then started to believe my own theories about it. So when I went to university, reality slapped me so hard in the face. I said, I didn't know this and that one. I didn't know. We need to be a bit less convinced. There are students that are going to argue with you. They say, no, it's not like that. I know that's the reason why. And there you say, no, that's not the reason why this happens. And before I even get to point number 5, students, teachers, tutors, native speakers, we're all human. We can make mistakes. A tutor, a teacher will make at some point some mistake. Don't be arrogant with languages because arrogance will come back at you. But blind confidence and arrogance, they're never good. And obviously when you have a tutor, when you have a teacher, you trust that person. But what's also important is not feeling that your instinct is more logical, is more sensible. And at the same time, I mean, there are tutors and teachers who are maybe a bit arrogant. That happened to me also. We are people, so yeah. finish off, I'd like to share point number 5, avoid translation. And to explain why translation is not that good when you're learning a language, I've actually made an entire video about translation, so I leave it here for you to watch. And grazie mille, thank you so much for watching this. Zobaczymy się w następnym filmiku. Tschüss!